Hi, I'm Liz.
And I'm Marie, and this is Mock It, a podcast from MetroStar where we take a deep dive into UX design, trending topics, and how our work is transforming the government. Let's get started.
Yeah, so for today's episode, we're going to be talking about creating design systems and pattern libraries. And this will be part one. We will be doing a follow-up at a future podcast episode because this is just such a great and big topic and evolving topic.
Yeah, and our team is moving forward on some items that we'll be discussing a little bit later on in this podcast.
So, Marie, as the resident designer, first off, I'm going to ask if you could help us describe what a design system is.
Yeah, so that is a very big concept when we say what is a design system. It's not just one thing, but it's many things that make up the whole. So it's anywhere from the typography that you use, your colors. It also goes into the tone of your content. Our team just went through and did those branding principles so that everything we do is focused around like the core principles of our agency's brand and the messaging and how they want to be seen by their users.
And then, sorry.
Oh yeah, and that's right. And then as well as it also includes so what we call components, so the Lego blocks or any sort of building blocks that are digital for how a web page is laid out, and then an entirety of a website or an application.
So one of the questions I'm sure that our listeners are going to have are, what are the benefits of having a design system or a pattern library?
Yeah. Okay, so now the pattern library, now that you said that, and I've used them very synonymously, that's the right word?
I hope, yeah, I believe so.
They use them back and forth. So the pattern library, though, is specifically what are the components of our website, or of your mobile application. So what are we doing specifically? What have the developers created that we can use to move around on a page to address user problems? So the biggest benefit, right, is you can get to production faster because you have patterns that are there to resolve common user problems, right? So like that of a menu structure, right? We need to add in a new page. We already have that menu structure and how it should display when it's in a drop-down. So that helps for those really common problems or smaller user problems. And then they allow you to have the time when you have more complex problems, or you come and you've laid out a page to solve a user problem. And you're like, can it be done better? You're now able to spend time on the user problem and solving for the best solution rather than redesigning all over again. So you can iterate faster.
Oh, nice. And then just as a general question, is this an artifact that you would use internally, externally, or both?
It could be both. So for our team, the artifact is definitely internally used, but we work with some other agencies as well that do other work for our stakeholder, our client, that they also use it, right? Because we want the end user doesn't know that there's different teams working to give them the results that they're interacting with, right? And we work on one piece of the entire picture, and another team works on another one. So for the end user, our customers of our site, they have no idea, but for them, the whole ecosystem should feel related, right? It can be cousins to each other of what's going on because there's different problems we're solving depending where they're at. But it should feel cohesive. So, and that's what good design should be doing. And then the system helps us just do it and share it across a larger organization with multiple designers and developers.
I feel like I've put you in the hot seat, but I have one more question to kick off more of a conversation.
Yeah.
So with government work, we use USWDS as some of our standards. Can you share with us what USWDS stands for and what it is?
Yeah, so USWDS is the United States Web Design Systems. It was a group that was formed back during Obama's presidency when oh my gosh, I'm blanking right
Obamacare.
now. Obamacare, yeah.
Yeah.
That went live, and although we've been designing websites for a long time, that didn't go so well. So Obama was like very chill inference of how he was like, hey, I need people who do this for a living day in and out. We need to correct this. That wasn't great. So they stood up the IDEA Act, which USWDS falls under. And yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm pulling up my phone right now to make sure what we have the correct description of what the IDEA Act is. So the IDEA Act is the 21st Century Integrated Digital Experience Act. It's also known as the 21st Century IDEA. People call it the IDEA Act for shorthand, and it requires all executive branch agencies to modernize their website, digitize services and forms, accelerate the use of e-signatures, improve customer experience, and standardize and transition to centralized shared services.
Yeah, so standing up that group was awesome because, right, not all government agencies can afford to have a design team, right? I think there's been a transition, which is awesome for us because love doing what we do, but sometimes it's kind of a luxury to have designers and UXers, right? You always need the developers to get the product live. So USWDS affords for agencies who might not be able to afford for additional, they are able to use this whole system that is covering a lot of the common user needs on their websites. For example, the forums, like that's a huge thing on a lot of government websites, right? Submitting an application for what might have you, whatever is specific to that agency, helping them standardize that just all government agencies have this same look and feel, so that, right, if I go from one agency's website to another, I'm not relearning a whole new language with an interaction between agency, right? Because as humans, right, we do things differently, and that's awesome, but standardizing it means our customers are like, right, American citizens or whoever are using it, they know exactly what's happening every time. When I see this form field, I know what that means. Like, I know what a checkbox does versus a radio button because it's the same experience on any website using USWDS.
Awesome. And then I'm going to circle back to one thing that we talked about, which was the Obamacare website conundrum that happened. So for those of you that either like didn't have to use the website or didn't hear what happened, when the website went live to get, basically healthcare opened up to anyone could get healthcare. So people went onto this website, and what happened was it crashed. The website basically just like went down on the first day, and like early in the first day. Yeah. And so from my understanding, what happened was there's a load balancing issue with the servers. And what that means is when you have servers, a load balancer routes your server's capabilities of fulfilling those requirements. So this is a very non-technical example or analogy that I can give is, let's say a server can hold up to 100 visitors on a website. So what happens is when the server starts to feel that it's getting, all right, like we are at like 95 users, like we're almost at our capacity. What a load balancer does is it'll move 50 of the users to the next server. So it load balances the incoming traffic onto the website. So it'll be 50-50. It
Tries to make room for the new ones, right? It's like shuffling.
Yeah. And so what happened was when this website went up, there were just so many people that it crashed the servers because the servers didn't have a load balancing system set up, or there weren't enough servers to account for the shuffling.
Yeah, how much do they need to
yeah, like that. So, and when that happens, basically like the servers, they crash. Like there's no way around it. Additionally, that as an end user, what you saw was, a website that you couldn't access that should have been accessible by the whole country. So that's something that, was definitely perhaps not, it could have been a testing issue. There are a lot of things that could have led to this issue. So this happened, and then that is basically why you know, as Mary said, Obama was chill, but things got
chill interpretation
chill.
of it.
Yeah, like things got moving.
Yes. I'm sure it was much more chill in my interpretation.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, not as chill.
Yeah, I would not want to have been the project manager on that. So I just wanted to circle back about that, which is to give some background on USWDS, and then in practice, how can people use USWDS if they're working on a government website?
Yeah, so that is a great question, and part of why we will have a part 2 of this. So from our team, USWDS accessibility is all put into our design files. We have it all quote unquote coded into our design files because we can save different states, we can save those components. And we have pulled all of the components from USWDS and just customized them to our colors, our fonts, and the colors do come from USWDS. They provide a whole spectrum of options for agencies to be able to take what their current branding is, you tweak it by a couple hex numbers or letters, and you basically can get your color to be able to use their tokens. Our team is now in the process of using the theme, the actual Drupal theme development code from USWDS. So we're going to start with investigating what does that mean, what's out there, how does it work once you start to connect it with your project. So I'm super excited about that part and to nerd out with the developers on it, as well as I'm a big fan of design systems, right? They're always growing and maturing with your needs, but just the process that they bring in, I think is really good because you get to spend more time on, bigger user problems than, recreating that menu bar every time you need a new page on the website.
Yeah, and I really like what you said a little bit earlier with you can go from one government website to another government website and know some of these things like the checkbox you gave the example of, or the radio button. Those things build up in a user's experience and repertoire. So they can, if they're on one website, they can go to this other website and it'll be a similar experience. But it seems that USWDS does give enough flexibility to build in different styling and branding. So even though you're on a similar experience, the branding can be tailored as needed.
Yeah, which is awesome. So users still know, right? Like cards are a really big thing on websites now. So in any way a card is presented for a news article or who are the people of that organization, as a user, I know how the information is teased and how to interact with it no matter what site I'm on. So no matter do they use black and white photography? Do they have a big green button versus an underlined text option for their styling? But I know the foundation of what I'm interacting with. So it's just the accessories on top of it to give that brand's personality.
Cool. And then before we talk about what the future of USWDS looks like, if someone wanted to, let's say someone is not currently using USWDS, what tips would you have for them to get started right now?
Yeah, so USWDS, so from the UI designer aspect of using Sketch or Figma, and I do believe they do have, what's Adobe XD, they have template files to download. So that is super awesome and great from them because it takes time to build a design system. It is not a quick task at all. It is very time intensive and a labor of love. But so USWDS has provided for the top design tools out there a foundation to it already. So there is a little bit of time to figure out, how it was set up and linked and all that, but that time versus completely creating it on your own, there's definitely a win for that. So I would recommend that you just Google USWDS, the design tool you have, and template, and you are likely to find it in one of the top Google results.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
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 Look. Yeah. So they made it pretty user friendly for people.
And then the part with being in code and stuff, we've started to have the conversations with our developers. It's pretty new to our team, So I think they've downloaded the template so far, maybe, or will be downloading the template, because USWDS does provide the coding template as well. And there's also a lot, if you go on their main page, they have a lot of their code even just written out, so you can start to bring it in whatever, the best way is that your development team sees fit for your project.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then as we look to the future, I know we're going to be doing a part 2 of this just because I really feel like I put you in the hot seat with these questions. But what do you think the future looks like with using this design system?
I'm excited to use it and have it, like, the coding aspect of it done. Right. So we've had it in our digital files, but then there's. And I have not looked into it enough, but right, if USWDS pushes a change to any of their components, say, right, for a new tech, or, something comes up because tech is always changing, or better accessibility in something, we should, in theory, be able to, like, update it and receive those same benefits without also having to put resources in. There might be, right, some tweaking of it so it plays nice with our code base. Whatever that might be, but so, right, efficiencies, I'm excited about that. Excited that, right, with efficiencies means we get to do other projects, other technologies. We get to, continue to help our users be able to achieve what they need to achieve on our website and application, get to those tougher problems.
Yeah.
Because the other ones are being solved for.
This is awesome. Yeah, no, I was really excited to get to. I feel like I interviewed you for this, but yeah, no, this is awesome information. This is something that seems really accessible to even people who are more novice in design, like I am, and this is something that the developers can benefit from, and then end users with the accessibility and the tailoring.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is awesome, and I appreciate you letting me put you in the hot seat with this information.
Yeah.
This is Mahakit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And please join us the next time. As always, if you're interested in learning more about how government and tech collide, visit us at metrostar.com and follow us on our socials.